Welcome back to the SportsMax zone. We turn our focus to the sport of kings, horse racing. Only 24 days to go until the 100th running of the Jamaica Derby. SportsMax, your home of champions, will have live coverage on the event. 16 horses are provisionally listed to contest the final classic of a rearranged racing season scrambled by the COVID-19 pandemic. Among the big guns heading into the event are 2,000 guineas winner Wow Wow, St. Ledger winner Nipster, and the third place finisher in the St. Ledger, One of a Kind. None of the horses running in the Derby have ever attempted the distance of 1.5 miles or 12 furlongs, and that is why an event like this could have a surprise winner. Among those that could provide that major surprise is Patrick Lynch's colt, High Diplomacy. In a maiden race some time ago, High Diplomacy, ridden by Dane Dawkins, outlasted Generational and one of George's Derby horses, One of a Kind, in a 6 furlongs contest. So Lance and George, High Diplomacy, does he have a shot, or is he only making up numbers? George, you first.
Me first.
You first.
All right. It's highly likely. Well, the things that are working in High Diplomacy's favor, two things. Well, one thing split in two. The trainer, Patrick Lynch, is a very good trainer, one of the best practitioners operating at Caymanas Park. And for a man who has only ever had a very small string of horses, he has managed to condition 2 Derby winners. He won the Derby firstly with the Bomber, ridden by the legendary Winston Fanner Griffiths, beating the favorite Rum Talk, Trevor Simpson for Philip Fiani that year. And then he won it about 2 years ago with Drone Strike, who won that with Aaron Chatry up on that day. So he knows how to condition a Derby winner, Patrick Lynch does. The Bomber wasn't an outsider, may have been the second or third choice in the betting, was a very good horse, but suspect at 1.5 miles, went in front and rocked them to sleep, while Drone Strike was an outsider in the race. For High Diplomacy, though, to win on October 31, he will have to have a car engine placed inside his body, because he is nowhere near the class of the horses in the lineup. It's not as if he's an outstanding stayer either, because High Diplomacy is by American Dance out of Code Star by Lost Code. The sire line isn't a line that has a lot of stamina or a lot of quality, and the dam line isn't bad, Code Star, Lost Code, but it's not a line that has produced champion horses either. So by breeding, High Diplomacy isn't bred to be anything special, and based on what we've seen from him so far, only one win in his career to date, High Diplomacy has a lot to find. And I can tell you, if High Diplomacy wins the Derby, Dr. Paul Wright, a racing analyst in Jamaica, will jump from the top floor at Caymanas Park to the floor, which is about 60 or 70 feet.
Yeah.
I don't think he would do that, George.
Tall building.
I don't think he would do that,
I don't think anybody
George.
can survive that.
But George pretty much covered it. High Diplomacy has really very, very little chance to win here.
Right.
Nothing we have seen in the horses display so far sets you up for a winning performance in the Derby. Just one win from nine career starts, which is the race we just looked at, marginally beating Generational and One of a Kind. One of a Kind would likely be, having shown improvement since then, probably based on how it ran in the St. Ledger, which was a good third to Nipster and Wow Wow, probably be better than High Diplomacy for the Derby going 12 furlongs. He does have a good trainer, that is for sure. The victory that Drone Strike had in the 2018 Derby was a huge upset victory, 24-1 the odds then. But then that was a Derby that didn't have outstanding horses in it. Fairuz, the Oaks winner, had been the favorite for the Derby ahead of Marquesas, who was up to that point a very disappointing 3-year-old. So Drone Strike's win in 2018, though an upset win and though a very, very good win, did come in a field that, wasn't very highly regarded. Having said that, Patrick Lynch has to take a lot of credit, because there was nothing in Drone Strike's log heading into that Derby that suggested that this horse could have won the Derby. It had won on debut, Drone Strike didn't win again in 4 or 5 starts, and then came up and won the Derby. So High Diplomacy is the lowest earning horse coming into the Derby at the moment, and has very, very little chance. I wish Patrick Lynch some good luck in preparing this horse for the Derby. Of course, the field isn't confirmed yet, but this would be a stunner if High Diplomacy wins here.
I tell you what, Mariah, I'll raise you one.
Yeah?
If High Diplomacy finishes in the top 9, I'll buy you a rose.
Wow, I want a few. Can I get a few?
I'll buy you a rose.
Okay, fine. Which means I'm not going to get any rose based on how y'all talk about High Diplomacy. But anyways, George, as we're moving along, why did you fancy One of a Kind? Why are you putting your money there?
Well, as Lance said, if we draw a line between from the race that One of a Kind ran behind High Diplomacy to now, High Diplomacy has gone on a flat line. One of a Kind has improved immensely. So to put it in stark terms, One of a Kind that day behind High Diplomacy was like a goat running against a racehorse. Now, One of a Kind is that racehorse, a pure thoroughbred. That horse has completely transformed. I remember the first time One of a Kind won over 9 furlongs and 25 yards over 2 turns, and I interviewed the trainer, Anthony Baba Nunes. So I said to him, Baba, is this one likely to do anything good for you in the classics if he stays? So then he says, well, he almost said, George, he's an ordinary horse. He's improving bit by bit, but I don't really expect anything special. Let me see what he can do. The next time he ran, he won over a distance of ground as well. And what was impressive that day, he lost one of his shoe. He lost a shoe on the left rear leg. And his left hoof was bleeding. And I think the jockey also lost his whip. And he won impressive. So when I interviewed the trainer after that performance, I said, well, the last time this horse won, you were neither here nor there about his quality and what he could do for you in the 3-year-old campaign. Based on today's run, what say you? He was saying, wow, he really looks the part. He looks as if he's coming to hand. And I think that if he continues improving, he could have a shot at the classic races. No One of a Kind has matured into the kind of horse that his 2 wins over distances or extended distances suggested that he would have been. So he's a totally different horse. And anything that beats him in the Derby is going to have to run really, really well.
Which means no rose for me. Well, as we go to break, remember to catch the 100th running of the Jamaica Derby live on SportsMax, Saturday, October 31st. Go to break.